Understanding what it means to teach is essential. Teaching is the profession of imparting knowledge, skills, and understanding to learners. It involves facilitating learning experiences, guiding students, and promoting their intellectual, emotional, and social development. As the imparter of knowledge, the teacher shares information and concepts while guiding the process. Meanwhile, the student as receiver actively engages with the material. Teaching is a two-way communication. It involves dialogue and interaction, which creates the learning experience from which knowledge is created, conceptualized, and operationalized. Effective teaching requires an understanding of diverse learning styles, fostering critical thinking, and applying knowledge in various contexts. It also involves creating an inclusive learning environment that encourages student participation and engagement. Note carefully, your students are not your friends, but you should be friendly and likable, as students sometimes find it hard to learn from teachers they don't like. Let's explore the difference between lecturing and facilitating students' learning. In lecturing, the teacher is seen as the authority, delivering information. Students are passive receivers of knowledge, and communication is one way, from teacher to student or top-down. On the other hand, during facilitation, the teacher acts as a guide, supporting active learning. Students actively participate in their own learning experiences, and communication is converted to a two-way dialogue format. Facilitating learning involves encouraging students to explore concepts, ask questions, and apply their knowledge, making the learning experience more interactive, adding value, and is student-centered. Adapting teaching strategies to the learning process is crucial. During the teaching-learning process, we start with analysis. Understanding student needs through diagnostic assessments, identification of learning styles such as visual, auditory, kinesthetic, read-write, and individual educational plans for students with special needs. Set SMART objectives and use the Bloom's taxonomy to align objectives with the different domains of learning: cognitive knowledge, psychomotor skills, and effective attitude. Good educators are purposeful and strategically target all domains of learning. The curriculum should align with specified standards and best practices, and the content should be relevant to the student's interest in future real-world applications. In design, plan teaching strategies and resources, ensuring differentiated instruction while considering universal design for learning. Develop detailed lesson plans incorporating a variety of resources. Modify classroom setting to suit the lesson, and integrate technology tools such as learner management systems, digital design tools, smartboards, and other web tools and collaboration platforms into the design. Implementation involves employing effective teaching methods. Active learning techniques include, for example, the Socratic method, using questioning to stimulate critical thinking and draw out ideas and underlying presuppositions. Or problem-based learning, where you present real-world problems that require students to apply what they've learned to find solutions. Or cooperative learning, encouraging students to work in groups to complete tasks collectively toward career and academic goals. Implementation also encompasses classroom management, adaptability, gathering continuous feedback, and adjusting or improving. Feedback and reflection involve conducting various formative and summative assessment strategies to gauge learners' understanding in real time and at the end of a unit or course. These may be traditional or alternative forms of assessments. It is very important to engage in reflective practice after each session. What went well? What didn't? What could be improved? You could also invite a colleague to observe you teaching and provide constructive feedback. Where a significant number of students did not grasp a concept, you might consider reteaching using a different strategy. Use scaffolding principles to provide additional support to learners and involve the students in the feedback process. After all, with their lived experience, they now have a wealth of knowledge to inform process improvements. Six tips or strategies to teach difficult concepts include breaking down complex concepts into smaller steps. Start by decomposing complex ideas into smaller, manageable parts, and teach each step sequentially. Define difficult words to ensure students understand the relevant vocabulary and simplify terms or use alternative words to enhance comprehension. For instance, in mathematics, when teaching how to solve quadratic equations, first review basic algebraic operations, then introduce the concept of factoring, followed by solving simpler linear equations. And finally, combine these steps to tackle quadratic equations. This step-by-step approach prevents students from feeling overwhelmed and builds a solid understanding incrementally. Using visual aids and interactive tools can also be incredibly beneficial. Models, manipulatives, and illustrations make concepts concrete. Incorporate visual aids such as diagrams, charts, and interactive tools to help students visualize abstract ideas and enhance understanding. In biology, when explaining the process of cellular respiration, use detailed diagrams showing each stage of the process, such as glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. Interactive simulations where students can manipulate variables like oxygen levels to see how it affects respiration can deepen understanding through visual and hands-on learning. Moreover, use concrete examples and analogies to make abstract concepts more concrete and understandable. Provide relatable, real-world examples and analogies, both instances that follow the concept and those that don't. For example, when teaching divisibility by 2, show examples such as 2 or 48, and counterexamples like 9 or 83. When teaching the concept of electricity, compare it to water flowing through pipes, explaining voltage as water pressure, current as the flow rate, and resistance as the pipe's width. This analogy helps students visualize how electrical circuits work by relating it to something familiar. Or in economics, compare market equilibrium to a seesaw balancing act where supply and demand are the weights. Relate new concepts to prior knowledge to help students integrate new concepts more easily. In chemistry, when introducing the concept of chemical bonds, relate it to students' prior knowledge of basic atomic structure, protons, neutrons, electrons. Explain how atoms bond to achieve a full outer electron shell, linking this to familiar concepts of stability and energy states. Encourage active learning and student participation through techniques that require students to engage with the material through discussions, problem-solving, and hands-on activities. For example, when teaching historical events, organize a role-play activity where students act out key figures and events from the period being studied. This method not only makes the lesson more engaging, but also helps students better retain information by actively participating in the learning process. Know your students' learning styles: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and multiple intelligences, verbal linguistics, visual spatial, musical, etc. to help create interactive and engaging learning content, ensuring learning is accessible. Lastly, provide plenty of practice and reinforcement. Offer numerous opportunities for students to practice new skills and concepts, reinforcing their learning through repetition and application. In language learning, when teaching new vocabulary, use a variety of practice methods such as flashcards, writing sentences, listening exercises, speaking exercises, and interactive games. Regularly revisiting and practicing the new words in different contexts helps solidify students' grasp of the vocabulary. By incorporating these strategies, teachers can create a more effective and engaging learning environment, helping students grasp difficult concepts and apply their knowledge in meaningful ways. Effective teaching involves continuous reflection and adaptation to meet the diverse needs of all learners. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, happy teaching.